Okay, in this step we want to change the script of demonstration our 3D models, because right now it is automatically in when you launch the scene and at the first moment of the scene launch. But we want to change it because it is not optimized, and also sometimes we want to show only that 3D models in which it is in our view, not outside or somewhere else. Okay, whatever. We click on one of our 3D models and double click on UDS model script, and it is here. Let's open it in Visual Studio. Perfect. It is our script for UDS model. In here we can see the options of 3D model launching. The 3D model launch system is working with this void load model. The base of the remote rendering try to load this function from this script, and we can't change it, but we can't change the mechanism of here. For example, we will define another function. It's called load manually model, and copy this contents and orders to here. Now the mechanism of the remote rendering try to load this function, and in fact it is nothing, but our load manually model will works well. Okay, now let's see what will happens. In the first moment you will see nothing because it will not work automatically. It's empty. Perfect. Now I want to add another script, and I call it launch model. Okay, and I wait for compiling. Perfect. And I want to add this function to camera. For example, this script attached to this main camera object, and go to the Visual Studio. Okay, we don't need them. Now at first I want to add a public game object, I don't know, OBJ, and in here I want to say public UDS model the script. Now I want to add some functions to be able to change. Oh, sorry. Public float timer equal 3 seconds or something else. At first, public void show model. Okay. Now we need to first get the UDS component from this object. At first UDS model here equal here, and get component UDS model. Okay, now it is in our hand, and try to load UDS model dot load manually model. That's it. We can call this function whenever we want by clicking by UI with the timer or with hit the trigger or something else. For example, now we can say start and call this with invoke. And after 3 seconds. So the 3D models 3D model only this object, not all. The 3D model will appear exactly after that delay we have selected for the timer variable, or something like other functions. At first, let's to test it. Okay. As you can see, we have two variables. We don't need to add anything to UDS model. It will be automatically. Okay, drag and drop our radio. Now, let's test. In the first moment, we have nothing. After 3 seconds, we need to see our 3D models. It works well. Perfect. Okay. Another test is when we want to launch it with the UI. So let's check off the invoke and make it as a message and keep it as a comment. Now let's back in here and add a UI element, for example button, show radio. Okay, and add our button to here, the function and launch model, show model. Now let's see. We have nothing. When we click on this button, we have it. Let's test again. I think the main camera is not front of the radio, so for this cause we cannot see in the game view. I put the camera in here. Let's test it again. And that's it. It works well. Okay, with this solution we can call our function whenever we want, and it is in our hand. We can define specific triggers. For example, it is room 1 and it is room 2. We can define once we are in the room 1, launch the 3D models of in the room 1, and once we are in the room 2, we can see only the 3D models of room 2. It is very optimized way, and also very good quality for our show 3D models, and also it will keep safe the traffic of the internet, because once you want to load the 3D models in your scene, but because you have a lots of 3D models, it takes a lot of time, and also traffic of internet, or perhaps your application will crash. But with this method you will not have these problems. Okay, let's go to the next step.